When looking to invest in your excavators, it's crucial to consider a few key factors before you make the decision. So continue watching if you want to find out what is the best excavator for you. Excavators and diggers vary massively in terms of size, capacity and power output. There's differences in attachment capabilities, difference in maintenance, difference in servicing packages. So in this video, we want to run over some of those key factors for you, just to give you an insight as to what looks good for you. So firstly, we'll cover off size and weight. Mini diggers and excavators come in several different size ranges and capacities and classes. They range from compact mini diggers from 0.75 tonne right up to large excavator and earth moving machines in excess of 100 tonnes. Now for you, you need to consider what is the best size, range and class for your working environment or for your job at hand. It could be a restricted site, it could be low ground pressure site. So there's many different considerations that you need to consider. And does it have sufficient power and reach for your task at hand? Is your site restricted, as in, is it a narrow site, narrow access site? And will you need a zero tail swing to complete your tasks at hand? For instance, if you're working between buildings and you're digging footings, are you going to be able to access each of those angles to complete the task successfully? So all of these things need to come into consideration when you're looking at the perfect excavator for you. Also, size matters too. You don't want to have too big a machine for a restricted access site, but then you don't want to have a too small a machine for a larger site. So multiple factors that all come into that thought process when looking at what looks good for you. For example, if you're a house builder or a landscaper, consider that not everyone has access to their back gardens or to their front gardens. So there may be a small passageway gate or even through a building that you have to consider you've got to get your machine through. Is there a possibility to crane it over, or will it have to go through this access? So in that case, you'll be looking at a micro excavator to complete your tasks. Your second consideration is power and performance. Now, excavators come in all sorts of power ratios, all sorts of fuel types. So you've got fuel, you've got petrol, you've got electric, and you also got biofuels. Let's cover off diesel first. These give you more torque and power, which are excellent in the larger machines, especially for those harder tasks. So demolition, earth moving, and even high performance tasks such as landscaping and shaping. Petrol powered machines are also very efficient and are typically used for lighter works such as landscaping, shaping and digging. Petrol engines are smaller and more compact than the diesel counterparts, therefore allowing them to be used in those smaller machines, giving you that high performance. Petrol is also an excellent choice in warmer weathers because it has a higher boiling point, so your performance is much more efficient. Electric does come into its own though, because it is perfect and efficient, excellent for the environment, ideal for those urban areas where you're working at night, especially for the utilities companies when they're wanting to reduce noise, still have the same power output. And again, when you're working indoors for those zero emissions on a closed space. Digging depth and reach. Evaluating the digging depth and reach for your project is essential. Many different excavators have different reach capacities and different performance ratios. It's essential to look at your project. What do you need to be able to reach? What dig depth do you need to be able to access and still maintain a safe working environment for you and the operator? For instance, micro excavator can dig down to a dig depth of around about 1.72 meters. For a 1.5, it goes up to 2.3, and for a 3 tonne, around about 3 meters. Some excavators do come in various models, and some do offer an extendable reach arm. So always look at this in your consideration and don't necessarily rule out a tonne range if it suits the size of your site. Always check with your dealer or check the specifics of the machine before making your decision. And then we come on to safety features and operators' comfort. You need to consider the safety features when looking at excavators. Operators' comfort is also very important. Prioritise safety features like design of the cab and also visibility for your operator. A productive operator is always someone who feels comfortable and at home in the cab. If an operator is going to be spending a length of time or extended periods of time in the cab, it's essential to make sure that there's enough space, legroom and the seat is comfortable to ensure that the fatigue doesn't set in. This isn't always necessary as it depends on the job at hand. Smaller excavators, you're more likely to be in and out of the cab more regularly checking up on smaller landscaping projects. But for larger sites, an operator could be in the machine for an extended period of time. Again, visibility also is very, very important. Especially on larger sites, clear visibility of the full operating area of the excavator is essential. Having the necessary safety systems and protection measures to ensure that no one is injured on site in and around an excavator is essential. So look at these when considering your excavator too. There are also the nice to haves and the operator's choices to have. Things like radios, aircon, entertainment systems inside the cab. This also depends on whether you're going for a full cab system or a canopied system, but just thoughts for consideration that we wanted to raise with you. Then we come on to attachment compatibility. This is a very important consideration, whether it be your first excavator or whether you currently run a number of excavators on the fleet. For instance, if you've got a number of excavators, you need to consider what current attachments have I got and what current pickups are they on. You want to make sure that this flows through to any new purchase that you bring onto the fleet, keeping your fleet usable and maximise the profitability of your fleet. Excavators are renowned for their versatility in the number of attachments that can be added to the arms for various applications. So again, it comes down to the nature of your work with your forestry, landscapers, public utilities, or even grounds maintenance. There are a varied range of attachments that can work and pick up on your excavator. Consider what is needed in terms of hydraulic capacity or even manual capacity to make this work for you. Always check up on the hitch pickups to make sure that you are compatible. Dedicated pickups, such as the Martin or Safelock pickups, can make it more challenging to get the right attachments for you. Also check up if it's an unbranded excavator that you make sure you do the calculations and the necessary checks to make sure that it's going to be compatible with what you want to achieve with your excavator, and that you can get the buckets and attachments that you need to complete that task that you have in mind. And then we lead on finally to maintenance and support and service. It's important to consider the manufacturer's reputation, warranty, service, and accessibility to parts and service. If you're a high user, in other words, if you're using your excavator regularly, day in, day out, hour after hour, you're gonna need that backup and support. You're gonna need the spare parts to keep you running. Remember, downtime costs you money. And even the most well-recognized brands out there still require service and repairs and maintenance. So always consider the next 4 points when you're looking at which manufacturer to go with. Always look at their track record for reliability. Essential if you're using this day in, day out. What is the scope of the warranty protection provided? What is the accessibility of spare parts? Is there a dealer or a network near me that parts are accessible? Or is there someone that I know that can provide me with OEM parts? And then we have the dependability of service support. Does the dealer or end user that we're buying it off has a network of support that is accessible to you? If this is through the dealer under warranty, then that's between you and the dealer. If it's a private sale, then you may even want to look up and set up a service term with a company so you've always got that backup and support that you need. We would always advise that you check up these points with your manufacturer. Check up with your local machinery dealer, just to be sure that what they're offering is going to cover you for the task that you have in mind. If you want to know how to inspect your mini excavator, including the slew ring and the undercarriage, watch this video for more info. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on a single upload from Rhinox Group. What is the best bake? Is your restrite to a dip deck